real quick. One is about the Housing Production Trust Fund money. I think we've put a significant investment into that pot of money over the years. And I see that we are putting more money into ERAP, which is at $403 million. What I'm continuously hear from residents is that I applied for ERAP. And I know ERAP has stopped at the beginning of this month, but my eviction notice is here. The ERAP money has still not hit my account, and I don't know what to do. And that's a continual issue. And to date, I think we have 2,736 evictions that's happened already this year, and we're only in March. So Mayor Bowser, what are we doing to, I guess, open up that floodgate to keep people in housing so we don't have to go through the process of rehousing them all over again?
Thank you for that question. And let me just start with your question about HPTF. I've been proud of 9 years ago, we made a pledge to ensure that the Housing Production Trust Fund, we made a commitment of $100 million per year, and we've been able to do that in all of my previous 8 budgets and more. In fact, the last 2, we exceeded $400 million contribution to the Housing Production Trust Fund. You recognize that is tied, of course, to deed and recordation taxes, which are, and we expect will experience some decreases over the next several years. So we maintain in this budget my commitment to $100 million you saw the number that is over and above the deed and recordation taxes collected, and that will remain our commitment. We have also, and I'm going to ask the team to jump in with the specific numbers around ERAP. I was just reflecting, when I was sitting where you're sitting, we would commit annually $5 to $8 million in ERAP. This year, we committed $43 million in ERAP. And this proposed budget will also make a substantial commitment to ERAP. So let me ask Jenny to talk about the numbers specifically for 23 and what's proposed next.
Sure. Council members, so there's currently $43 million for ERAP in fiscal year 23. To date, we've processed and approved about 7,900 applications, and there's another 7,200 pending. Those are currently under review by the Department of Human Services for eligibility. So if folks have applied and are waiting, please know that DHS is working through those applications, and we can follow up to find out when folks might hear back. ERAP.
So can I stop you real quick? And so what we are hearing is that if they go in September, October, depending on when you file, they're saying we're dealing with those and we get to you when we get to you. And so now I just noted that we have over 2,700 evictions already. Trying to get an idea how we want to speed that up to, I guess, hire more staff, get some more people to go through these applications, because it's creating a crisis, especially for Black and brown people in the city.
So one of the things that was stood up during the pandemic because of the concern about evictions was a coordinated working group between legal service providers, the Department of Human Services, and the courts. DHS has been working really hard to make sure that whenever we can, we do these what's known as last mile payments to prevent those evictions. So I think what would be good is for us to follow up with you about the status of that task force and the work that they're doing to streamline those programs, so you can get a better sense of when folks are going to hear back.
A follow-up question, Mayor Bowser. For the Housing Production Trust Fund money, we are trying to, I guess, fix those numbers as relates to the MFI or the AMI and our investments, but I'm not seeing that we are investing in a lot of 3, 4, and 5 bedrooms. And just to be quite frank, Black people and brown people in the city have large families historically, and we have a lot of families who are calling saying, I have a voucher, I got approved for this program, but I can't find anywhere to live, but yet we're using this pot of money to invest in some of these new units that are not beneficial for indigenous DC residents. Is there something that DHCD is doing to focus on larger units that we're investing in outside of just the rehabs?
Yes, and as you know, in some of the projects that we have discussed, we have talked about how there could be a priority on larger units. There's a trade-off, of course. You have larger units, you probably are also likely to have fewer units available, but we recognize that that is a priority. How the Housing Production Trust Fund is invested is according to the law on income bands. I don't think that the law refers to unit size, but I'll have to double check that. It does not refer to unit size, but it refers to how we can invest in certain income bands. But we are able, with our solicitations and negotiations, to put some other priorities on how we use the funds.
Yeah. In actuality, is that happening though, where we're spending our money? We've had this pot of money before you became mayor. We're over $1 billion, the Housing Production Trust Fund. How we
Can we get a report back to you on how we have requested larger units or negotiated larger units in various projects? I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'm happy to bring that back to you.
Thank you. And
20 more minutes for the rest of the council. Your last question.
all right. Crime is through the roof in the city, and I can talk for 3 days about this. But I wanted to focus on the recreation centers. We have intentionally focused on building more recs in the district, especially east of Anacostia River. We haven't, not one of the recs is built yet outside of the one built in Furby Hope. And we're getting pushback saying that they're delayed. Fort Bragg was delayed. Anacostia is being delayed because the price of construction, which was in 2018, 2019, is different what it's going to be in 2023, 24, 25. How are we being intentional about making sure we getting these buildings up to get young people and young adults and parents in these safe spaces to have activities to grow and have fun in their communities?
Absolutely. So we're exceptionally proud of our team at DPR. You've heard me say this before. They were front and center, figuring out innovative ways even during the pandemic to make sure we opened our doors, and kids of all ages had an opportunity to be in a safe recreation space. We're proud of our commitment to recreation for all, where we've added thousands of opportunities after school during the summer so that more kids have activities. I hope you recognize too, and families recognize, that we've also changed our process for kids applying for summer camp so that it can be more thoughtful, more of a system that families are used to with My School DC, and a lottery system for camp. So we've done those things. You heard and you're right, nobody's imagining, and inflation is real, and a lot of our construction costs have, frankly, they've just gone through the roof. So you've heard the CA say that we've had to, true up. We've had to true up the construction costs so that they're matching. And so we can go through your projects in Ward 8, which we are eager to get to, but we believe that we've trued up all of the planned projects so that they can proceed.
I just want to say we're still waiting here, Bowser. It's just too long, and it's been held up, not even with DPR, but with DGS, to be quite frank.
It's not being held up, but they can't proceed if they don't have enough money. Like,
We
they
got
just
the money.
can't do it. No, we don't, actually.
We do.
Listen, this is what I'm saying. Like, there are a number of projects that literally, we have the money, but what it would mean, council member, is that we would have to reduce the scope of the project with the money that is allotted. And I made the determination, you can tell people to ask me, that if we didn't have to reduce the scope of the project, we wouldn't. But we would get the money so that we can deliver to the community what we said we would deliver in 2018. And I'm proud to say that we were able to do that. If there's some specifics, we can talk about the Ward 8 projects.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Hendrick, I have a line up.